Welcome to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Self, where we chat all about real life experiences with real women as guest experts and real life solutions to common and not so common struggles that all of us women have, all while keeping it simple. In this podcast, we will be chatting all about hormones and how it relates to everything in women's health: mind, body, soul, fitness, nutrition, relationships, sexual health, and our overall well-being. This really is for the everyday woman, for informing, for community, for inspiration, for uplifting and encouraging messages in all of life's circumstances, from A to Z. This is real, raw, and unapologetic talk about what once was taboo and is sensitive to talk about, but I'm going there. And I hope you find yourself and solutions in this journey with me, where my motto is happy mind, happy body, happy hormones, happy life, and to simply be happy. If you like what you hear and want to work with me, go to thehappyhormonescoach.com and send me a message. Now, let's dive into it. Sit back, relax, grab some tea or coffee, and listen in with me. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Self. Today's episode is a continuation of our frequently asked questions on serotonin, aka another one of the happy hormones. So let's get started. Serotonin is a hormone that stabilizes our mood, feelings, well-being, and happiness. It allows our brain cells and nervous system to communicate, and it impacts our whole body. The gut and the brain are highly connected. You've heard me say it before, years before, and I'm still saying it. It's still true. It's like you have two brains, and the gut and the brain are two brains. It uses neurotransmitters or certain hormones to talk with each other. And it's crucial that we eat to fuel our body, and it's especially crucial to take care of our gut and pay close attention to the types of food we eat or we don't eat. All right, serotonin is one that is found in the gut and in the brain. All right, I'm gonna get a little biological here, so stick with me, but it's really fascinating stuff. And again, I'm doing these episodes to kind of get you back to basics and to understanding the basics of what each hormone is, as we are focusing on serotonin today and other happy hormones in this series, and then it'll be others. So let's get back to the biological stuff here. Serotonin is a hormone and a neurotransmitter. It regulates appetite, digestion, sleep, mood, learning, and our memory. And here's the funny thing. 90 to 95% of the production is in the gut. That is amazing. And is responsible for our mucus secretion in our intestines. Therefore, it plays a role in our appetite or feeling full and our digestion. So having a happy, healthy gut is important to having a healthy, happy body. And what's an easy way to get serotonin naturally and having a happy gut? Through nutrition. Some foods that are high in it are pineapples, bananas, kiwis, walnuts. And I know these are all carbs, but as I've said it before, not all carbs are bad. In fact, we need them for brain and even gut health. You know, the right kind of carbs. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want processed, but there is certain carbs that our body needs. So these diets that have you on no carb, no this, it's honestly, it's really not good for you because, as I'm showing you, certain hormones are made in the gut, and we need this to fuel our body and even our brain. As I've mentioned earlier, the gut and the brain connection, it's just important to take care of both. So there are certain carbs that we do need and certain healthy fats to fuel our brain as well that we do need. And that is good for our serotonin levels, or also known as our happy hormone, our feel-good hormones. But it's not just from carbs, it's also from protein. More specifically, an amino acid named tryptophan. I'm sure you've heard of it. Everyone's heard of it. Around Thanksgiving time, you overdose on tryptophan, aka, turkey, because turkey is high in tryptophan. So I'm sure you've heard that before. But not many know it's an amino acid, and it is a form of protein. And having enough of that helps to curb our cravings or impulses to go out and reach for carbs right away. Or, really the bad carbs right away that we instantly want to reach for, and I'm guilty of this myself. So what are some foods that are high in tryptophan? Well, yogurt, turkey, of course, meats, beans, fish, eggs, and nuts have a higher concentration of tryptophan. So, you might want to be mindful of that. That's something to boost your serotonin naturally. And the serotonin made in the gut doesn't make it past the blood-brain barrier. So, we do need to make sure we are providing our body with the proper nutrients to produce it in the brain. That's why it's so important to fuel your body, not just your gut, but also your brain with the right nutrition that it needs to help boost our hormones naturally. So you don't have to have it synthetically. And folic acid, B vitamins, and thiamine are all crucial in our daily diets. So getting enough of that and foods that are high in tryptophan make for happy serotonin levels. And you can find those in your natural foods, spinach, things like that, but also like leafy greens, but also whole food vitamins. If you don't get that enough in your daily diet, then you'll find it in whole food vitamins. Okay, vitamins that are whole food. I want to just make that clear, not vitamins that are made in the lab. All right. And what other ways can you start to increase your levels today? Well, sunlight. Vitamin D is so important for serotonin health. Now, I suggest to sunbathe without sunscreen for 10 to 15 minutes a day. It's not going to hurt your skin, but will get the direct sunlight it needs without any barriers, and I promise you, it is okay. Another thing, nutrition, of course, and we talked about that earlier in this episode. Activities are super important in boosting it. Exercise will naturally increase the levels, as well as hanging out with friends that lift us up, talking and communicating with each other, breathing techniques, prayer, meditation, and listening to music, just to name a few. I do want to share with you my personal story with low serotonin levels and how it affected my body as I was in a crucial stage of development in my life. It's not a secret that even as a young child, I struggled with anxiety and depression. I've talked about it, did post about it over and over again. And as a teenager, I had a lifestyle with it. Just honestly, it was not great for any teenager or adults. I was doing drugs, the hard kind, not the good kind. Well, actually, there's no good kind of drugs, but I was just into that. Not eating right, not to mention I had insomnia growing up since childhood. So basically, I was messing up and going deeper into the negative without even realizing it. My moods were whacked out, and I even lost friends over it and how my lifestyle was. I mean, even to this day, I deeply regret the best of friends I let go because of my own negligence and ignorance, and how I treated my body, but also how I treated my friends. So I went to the doctor, and she told me that my growth was stunted, that my bodily development, like my breast development, all that, and especially the serotonin levels were just stunted. It was on hold, basically. It wasn't normal. So she put me on Prozac. Then when my body was used to that all those years, I went to Lexapro, which is like a lower form. It does the same thing, but all the while, not a single doctor or my parents, or anybody else for that matter, educated me on what my body really needed or why it needed it. I didn't know what serotonin was back then. I guess even if somebody would have told me, my teenage brain probably wouldn't have listened, but maybe. There was no education around it. I just didn't know. I just thought I needed to be on medication, so I was on medication to get my levels up, but I didn't really wasn't explained why I needed it and what it was, who, when, why, what, where, all the W's and even the how. Like I should have, and like a lot of women, and even men should be educated on. But anyways, so like I said, I didn't know about hormones or the depth and such importance of it until not many years ago after doing my own research. Anyways, sorry I get distracted and I seriously go off into a rabbit hole trail, but y'all probably know that about me by now. But I was feeling better. I'm not saying that all medicine is bad. I do want to put that plug in. I'm not saying that. And if you need it, and a physician says so, I'm suggesting, though, that you be your own advocate, and do your research, but still heed the advice of your physician who does know you. Communicate your ideas, though. Give suggestions of the research that you've done. Work with them. Work alongside with them. And just everything. Co-work with them. Be your own advocate for one. And that's something I didn't do and wish I'd done even as an adult. Back to the story. As an adult, I decided I didn't want to be on meds anymore because I didn't like the way it felt and for other reasons. So I took myself off of it. Okay, this is another plug. I definitely am not suggesting to you that when you're on any medication to take yourself off of it cold turkey like I did, but to talk to your physician first and taper off. However, the situation, I know I did it wrong, so I'm not advocating for you just to take yourself off something that's a physician or your practitioner has put you on. So definitely that's something I did that was wrong. I should have did it the right way. I just didn't like it and I wanted to get rid of it or take myself off. But definitely seek your physician's advice when you're stopping any kind of medication. All right, there you go. That's my plug. But I took myself off of it cold turkey, as they say, and it did change my lifestyle. It changed my life because I was more active and healthy, and I never looked back. Since then, I have ever been on medication at all. And I mean, if I need to, I'll take a Tylenol every once in a while or Sudafed I have really bad allergies. But when it comes to things like antidepressants, anti-anxiety, and again, I know it's different for all, but for me, this is just my story. I felt so much better off of it. I felt back to normal. I can get my life back on track naturally and healthier that I should have been. But there is a moral to my experience, and the moral to my experience is, again, there are ways you can boost your serotonin or any other happy hormone naturally. Be your own advocate when it comes to your health and body. Nobody knows your body and mind more than you. And lastly, your body knows what it needs, so please listen to it. I can't wait to share with you next week's episode and continue on with this series of our happy hormones. I hope this blesses you as it has me. Stay tuned for next week's episode and a bonus life coach episode on Fridays. Hey, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I loved making it. Remember to subscribe. Oh, and sharing is caring. So if you know that woman who could benefit from this, please share and leave a review. It would mean the world to me to get this message out and start changing women's lives like never before. Interested in how you can work with me directly? Go to thehappyhormonescoach.com and send me a message. I can't wait to hear from you. As always, be simply happy and have a happy mind, happy body, happy hormones, and happy life.